I wanted to do this live, but I didn't want it to cut out due to my internet, so I figured I'd record it. But I want to talk about a lesson I learned in empathy 2 days ago that I wanted to share, and I thought I had learned it. It's really a lesson about love and how to love another correctly is what I learned. I realized I had kind of been stuck in my mind. I realized I had been stuck on kind of finding truth and knowing that there is an absolute truth, that there's an absolute right and wrong. But I got stuck. I got stuck in that moment. I was stuck in that moment of truth I found in my mind, and I didn't fully realize it or understand it until 2 days ago. And I totally, I get the depth and the profoundness, and that's what I want to share and try and convey. My constant, incessant talking from the point, my found point of view of I in the moment, my point of view, my truth that I understand and I get and feel from right now in the present moment, I realized I was repeating that present moment over and over and over, and that there was work for me to do still in my heart. There was a wall up that I didn't fully get until 2 days ago. And I'll try and convey it in a few different ways to try and make it make sense, I hope. Because I totally get what happened. What I was doing by constantly talking and speaking to those I loved, those around me, about whatever I thought I knew to be true or this or that, my point of view on things, even though for me in my heart it wasn't coming from a place of ill will or intent to harm. It was just the opposite. It was me only sharing just as openly and concisely and precisely as I could about so many things that I had come to really get. What I didn't realize, I still didn't get it all quite in the heart yet, because I still had a wall built up, and I get what it was. I was still locked in some mindset, some frame of mind, some modality of thought and action of an overbearing parental figure. And I realized I was playing that out. But I realized where it came from. And I only realized that because 2 days ago, my wife said she had enough. That my words were hurting her enough to the point to where she was ready to leave. She was leaving indeed. And I couldn't get it. I couldn't understand. And what I also did was lash out. I lashed out at her with words. And I was saying, you're doing this and that. Like you're giving them, they, whatever the system, exactly what they want, and to drive, letting a wedge be driven in the family unit for no reason, because everyone loves each other here. So I couldn't get, why are you leaving? So it must be something wrong with you. Because it can't be something wrong with me, because I have no ill intent. I don't want to harm. Especially those I love, especially, but I don't in general. So I couldn't see it. I couldn't see what the problem was, because I thought the problem was, again, outside myself. because I wouldn't shut up. I wouldn't shut up. I felt later, after those, like the heated words exchanged, and I caught myself. I caught myself in the moment. I think, without fully realizing it, caught myself telling myself that I knew better. That I don't lash out with words, or I don't blame, because it's not her fault. Like, so why am I saying things like it's her fault? But I couldn't quite get the depth of it until I sat down in the chair and everything played back out. And in getting that lesson, I felt it in my chest, and it brought tears to my eyes. I was crying again. I've cried quite a few times over the last couple of years as I've put things together inside myself to make sense of things and feel things again correctly, and to try and correct these problems. But so this was a problem until 2 days ago. I still had it, and I realized now from childhood. That's what I'll try and explain now. Hold on, let me back up 1 second. What I learned was I had to shut up and listen to what she was trying to tell me about the heart and feeling. Some of her comments, I realize now they were triggers. They were triggers in me. They were triggering me to lash back out. And here's why. Here's what some of them were. She was telling me, what you're saying isn't coming from a place of care. You don't care. You're hurting us, so you don't care. So, saying that saying I was being the one that was being evil and dark, she was right. And I didn't get it. But it's because it was like this, it was that overbearing parental figure. I didn't realize I was acting out fully because I didn't fully understand yet how to love correctly another fully enough to see what was right in front of my face with the person I was closest to. This is why. For people outside my family, because I'm not real super close to a lot of folks. I'm not. But for those I love the most, it seems I was the most blinded. Because the way I acted, the way I was talking, the way my words were unintentionally causing harm and hurt feelings, I totally realized now how they were. And I realized that that's why my other son, who's not here with me right now, but he's said things in the past and he's said things in the present too, like recently, about how he could never get a word in edgewise with me because he was right. Because I always thought I had to have the answer. I always thought, here's what it was. It was when someone was talking to me or someone I love close to me was doing something, any action or talking or whatever, I guess something in me thought that I had to not control, but my consciousness in some way what was overbearing and it would butt in. I would butt in when I shouldn't have. And I would butt in ways sometimes where I know my words were cutting and come across incorrectly from the intent behind them. But I didn't realize why until 2 days ago. When I was little, real little, now this is to say nothing bad about my childhood, because in my mind my childhood was excellent. I love my mom. I grew up with my mom, just me and her for a long time. She got divorced when I was 2. So I don't remember any of that stuff. What I do remember, however, is what caused the walls to be built in my heart, and that hiccup in empathy I didn't realize that I was lacking, I wasn't fully connecting with. Because of my mom's own experience, the hard parts of her experience, and only having me being the closest one to her, she shared a lot of her experience, the dark parts of her experience, and how, like the divorce things that I don't really know about, but I would hear about the bad side of things a lot. And I didn't mind. And I enjoyed talking to her and trying to help as a real little kid, though I didn't understand fully, I just saw that the person I loved the most was hurting inside. And I would try to help with that as best I could. I'm about to start tearing up. I'm trying not to. So, I realized I had built walls. So strange. So strange that one word could be so hard to get out loud when I can say it in so many different ways inside, and I've said it out loud to my wife and to everyone here the last couple of days. Right after I realized this, I was talking to them in the same way, except more upset. It wasn't. I was more hurt inside about my own actions. But I conveyed right away the depth of what I felt and what I learned. And that's, even just trying to convey it again now, I thought it'd be quite a bit easier. But, so anyway, the walls, I had built up walls. Because what it was, I guess as a younger kid, developing my personality so early like that, I'd already built those walls up. I didn't realize they were to protect my own heart, my own feelings. So I kind of caused this separation in feeling from someone, the one I was most closest to in this physical world, my mom. I walled off some of those feelings of empathy so I could try and help her deal, and so I could deal with things mentally and not to feel all those hurt emotions as much from the hurt feelings, And I didn't realize just how deep that went and just how far back that went, because I didn't realize I had done it until 2 days ago when I realized I had done it. And it went away when I felt it. When I really felt how that part of being closed off was something I intentionally did, whether I was fully aware or conscious of what I was doing or not. As a young child, I did it as a way to deal with my immediate surroundings, with my feelings, to protect myself. And I see now that doing that to cut off a little bit in that heart to protect myself, it made me view things in an overprotective way. Because I was trying to be someone on that level for my own mom as I grew up and as my understanding grew and as I kind of got more about the world around. I tried to be on that same level mentally as an adult. And I realized I built that overprotective mental framework, so to speak, to make up for that lack of letting myself feel fully. that love for other and to feel that love for other correctly. Not in a way where there's this constant, I'm not talking about a constant give or take or anything, but I'm talking about a constant barrier I had put up in there to where it carried over throughout my life until 2 days ago, to where I realized, and I said it to my wife, and everything, that until that moment when I felt it sitting here, I still didn't fully and correctly know how to love another. I still didn't. And I can see clearly that once I felt that depth and profoundness and really tied it back to, and I really got it. The whole flash of memories, why it was created, how I created it, what happened, and then all the after effects of that throughout my life, throughout every single interaction I've had with anybody, but especially to those closest to me, to my family, to the ones I love most in this world. I see I had that wall up. Just a little bit for them too. And it made it so I couldn't fully get their feelings of things because I wouldn't let myself. So that caused me to unintentionally cause a lot of hurt feelings in them without me even knowing it was happening or realizing it. And that's how I would go around and have been going around and thinking everything's fine. Life's great, because it is. It is to me inside. Because I get it. I get what's going on, and I'm not confused and crazy about things, and I love life, love my life. I love my family. I love what this world could be. It's just too bad I was so confused for so long. I mean, I'm a lot less confused the past couple of years than I was any time previous to that. The first 39 years or so, especially. Yeah, I was totally lost. But still, it still surprises me, and it's still so deep and profound, just this. Even with everything I seem to think I know, and to still be able to get a lesson like that so deeply and profoundly and have so much meaning and have so many after effects and ripple effects that I can just see how they've played out through my whole life, and now to just and be able to rectify that instantly as soon as I felt it and as soon as I addressed it to those around me. And now, and that's why I wanted to also openly share that. Because at the same time that I got that, I talked through that, and I shared that, my son also, who was getting things, and we've been talking about things, we were both kind of stuck in this level of just the mind and bouncing ideas back and forth, didn't realize the hurt feelings we were causing. So we were so caught up in the moment. Finally knowing truth, the truth of right and wrong, the truth of natural law, the truth of the Creator, of being a part of the Creator and the created, and to be able to create here with all the other creators of that have been created. Yeah, I could just go and go. But he got the same lesson also, and he saw how he was modeling that behavior. Excuse me, I'm trying to reach these tissues. He was modeling those behaviors because that's all I had ever portrayed, and I didn't realize it. So his words would come across in an overbearing parental way too, even to his mom. So she really felt as if, and she was right, kind of that we had taken sides against her and we're both hurting her feelings, because we were, and we didn't realize it, that we were unintentionally hurting her feelings. But we were definitely on the same side of what we were talking about, our perception, and we were ignoring that. Hold on. Here's what's so weird, because to where some folk might hear what I'm saying and go, this guy is absolutely insane. How could he not feel that right away? Isn't that the most obvious thing in the world? And to me now, yes, it is. It is indeed 100% the most obvious thing in the world, what I was doing wrong from in here, from my heart. And she saw that. She wasn't the only one. Others around me saw that, were trying to tell me these things, I realized. A whole bunch of others. But it wasn't clear to me because it happened so long ago in my childhood, I didn't know it was there. So I didn't know I had to address it, because I didn't feel the problems I was creating until I saw the problems manifest with my wife putting clothes and stuff into the truck and going, I'm leaving. And then me playing out the blame game like a child, like it was her fault. And then me realizing, feeling finally, or getting that lesson finally from what she was trying to tell me, what someone was trying to tell me, I was trying to tell myself, what I just wasn't getting, was I had to stop. I had to stop and be quiet and stop the thoughts. And stop looking at it the way I was looking at it, because I wasn't feeling it right. And as soon as I felt it, I felt it. As soon as I felt it, I knew exactly what I was feeling and what the problem was. So that's the thing. From someone who didn't have that problem of empathy in the heart, I will sound totally insane. And they'll say, why didn't you know that a long time ago? And I would say, I did. I knew it when I was a little child, but I had forgotten since then, because I was playing this out until I realized it, and I could feel that wall I had built up. I could feel it melt away because of what I was seeing happening. Now, thankfully, with a clear perspective of things and a clear perception now to where I can really, even if it takes me more than 42 years to get that one simple lesson of feeling in my heart, at least now I can get that lesson, where the first 39 years it was impossible, because there were so many other things that I was confused about, that I didn't understand within myself, let alone the outside. So I really did. I want to share that, because I know to a lot of folk out there in that same mindset, that have that same imbalance of overprotectiveness for those they love and care about outside themselves. It comes from not being able to do it enough for yourself inside. And that was a mistake I'd made. I thought I had done it fully within myself. I thought I had fully loved myself fully enough. to know how to correctly do it for others in a way to not impede on their experience in any kind of hurtful way, even with a word. A misused, a misplaced word at just the most inopportune time can hurt. And I didn't fully feel that. I didn't fully feel that until I did. So it might help others. It might help others too that haven't fully realized how they might be acting toward those closest to them. That's what I was going to say. It's kind of weird earlier that for me it's been a process over a couple years, but I'm at that place of where I thought I was at that place totally of no judgment outside. Because I had judged myself so deeply and felt it so deeply. And that's how I was able to love myself again and find myself and find more and to find the rest. And to keep finding things. Because I did get that back inside. What I was going to say, what's so weird though is for those outside where I'm so, with my words in my videos, I haven't been very careful not to cause harm with words, but that's because my words as they go out to the outside, I feel, here's the distinction, because now there shouldn't be a distinction I'm trying to get across between not causing harm outside to outside folks who you love or should love as much as yourself and those closest to you. There shouldn't be a distinction. Yet I've still been playing out this distinction, even with the words in my videos that I've put out. But there's a reason. What I didn't fully realize was, though, the truth I found that was new to me, just knowing the truth and feeling the truth and being able to say that word and know that it means something now, to feel that it means something inside me instead of just a vague concept that someone else made up or talked about or put a definition to somewhere. To have my very own point of truth to distill knowledge from and experience from, to speak from, to feel from, was so profound to me that when I started to use the truth of that place, of wanting others to be able to feel that place and find that place within themselves, in their mind, in their heart, a connection to their soul and their spirit that permeates them, that permeates all of us. I started to wield my words very much like a sort of truth, to put a reference to a series of books I enjoyed in a past life, it seems. Because I realized words are cutting, because words are weapons, and words start all the fights and can end all the fights. To use truthful words as swords of truth, that to me, that is what I feel will change society in general, society at large. Society in the way society views itself, in the way the individuals in that society view that society and their part in it, and what it's turned into and what they've turned into in it. I think it's necessary for that, because in that way the words become mirrors. I know if I would have heard the right words in the right combinations at the right times, at the right points in my life, words that could have been used as mirrors for me to look at myself and to look at what surrounded me and what I was a part of, what I was doing and what the whole thing even meant, or what I even meant, or what I even was. Maybe I would have considered things differently before I got to the point of physical death 2 years ago. The multitude of health problems I just won't bother to go into because they're gone. They've gone. I only had to think and feel for myself and search within myself to find some sort. I had to question myself. That's where I started, inside. Question everything inside. And as I changed my behavior to the outer world, because my inner world was becoming something new, that there was a spark of light in there that I could cultivate, that now has grown into this, to what I am now, to what I feel now, which is nothing like I was before. That's why to me everything about before, my name, the whole falsehoods of all of it, the corporate fictions, the birth certificates, the social security numbers, the names, the labels, it's all a thing of the past to me. I know it very clearly exists because I lived it. I also know it wasn't life. It was a disconnected, disjointed thing. It was a series of random thoughts and other folks' ideas of me that I played out in experience, form, and fashion for 39 years. It wasn't me. That's when I realized most other folks out there aren't who they think they are either. Because they're not simply a name. They're not simply a label. There's so much more inside. And we could all be so much more to the outside. Once we know that. I've been able to become that just here at home for me. To appreciate any bit of nature around me and any bit of life around me. And still, like I said, still even now, I learned that very, very profound lesson of the heart I needed to shut me up again, to realize that there's still so much more for me to learn. There's still so much